No, they're due on court right now.
Yeah, that's right.
No,
all sorted out.
they'll be given a little bit of buffer time to do their final preparations.
So mixed doubles now, Tang Man and So Sweat taking on the French pair of Tom Gicquel and Delrue. And this crowd, well, the ones that might have been expecting to come a little bit later, we'll have to rush over now. All 4 semi-final spots still up for grabs here. The winner of this match takes on Rivaldi Mentari from Indonesia, or Go and Lai of Malaysia, the 4th seeds. There is a mixed doubles match going on on court 3 at the moment, in the other half of the draw.
Yeah, it's suddenly gotten very busy here in the Hong Kong Coliseum with the home fans ready for this mixed doubles match.
Yeah, they've enjoyed some local winners in previous editions, so hoping for more of that here. I have to say, it is, and normally where we are in commentary is, it's up in the rafters, some might say the nosebleed section. This is the first time, it's certainly on ground level, as it were. And it truly makes me appreciate what you guys, the players, have to go through, Kirsty. It is warm. It is very warm down here.
It is warm down here. Yeah, and I think on the flip side, this is funny for me to be over by the side of the court.
I bet, yes.
So yeah, normally I get to walk out of those little curtains on the right-hand side of our screen there,
Yes.
And I'm headed out under those bright lights,
Right.
which do make things tricky sometimes, actually.
Yes, sometimes you do see the players having a bit of a glare at the glare.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, funny for me to be on this side.
Can I ask, I mean, is this sort of one of the warmer venues for you? Or is it just about the same? Is this like this in every venue?
I would say this is on the warm side.
Okay,
yes.
okay.
Quite often, so you don't really notice it when you're warming up and you're in your shorts and t-shirt, or your playing kit and you're on the court. I'm not necessarily thinking about temperature.
Okay.
Because I would say it's catch-22. If it's warm, you're going to sweat more, which makes it difficult. But then that's more likely that the aircon's not on as high. And
so
if
the drift is not such a factor.
Drift is not as much of a factor. But if it's cool, you're going to sweat less, which is good. But that shuttle's going to be flying all over the place due to the aircon because it's cooler. But quite often as players, if you're coming to watch your teammates or your friends play, or any match, if we're coming to spectate, quite often we'll bring joggies and a jumper and a long sleeve, because it's quite often
it is quite cold,
a bit icy. Yeah, it can be.
And it's interesting, just see there the timing of the match, in about 3 minutes or so. And I think it's worth you also sort of explaining to our viewers, our listeners, or those who's watching stream as well, that European conditions quite often vary from the Asian ones, because you don't normally have air conditioning in European venues. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, one of the big talking points at World Championships actually was the fact that it kind of felt like an Asia hall.
Because it was air conditioning.
Because there was quite a bit of aircon and there was a quite substantial drift.
Right.
Whereas when we play Denmark Open, French Open, high-low, the arenas are of a good size, but maybe not quite as vast as the ones that we play in Asia.
Yes.
But yeah, it's not. We play there's a European leg of the tour in March where we have German, All England, and Swiss.
Yes.
March, it's not particularly hot in Europe. You might get the
still
odd
spring, isn't it? It's still a little bit chilly, right?
Exactly. And then we have another European leg in October. Well, this year we've got the Arctic Open in Finland, Denmark, then French, and then
Which is
high-low.
a great name, by the way. It's going to be It's going to be like that, isn't it? Arctic conditions.
There's not going to be any aircon there, that's for sure. They might have to put the heating on. So
which actually, that's a curious one. The heating. That's in theory the same thing as aircon, blowing hot air. Is that not? But is that not an issue?
I've never experienced a hall that had to put the heating on, but I guess you could do it with radiators rather than hot air.
Right, hot air. Yeah. Okay.
But I've never experienced a hall with heating that I've noticed particularly.
Okay.
So yeah, interesting. But the conditions don't tend to be as windy in Europe because we always play at cooler times of the year.
Right. So we do see the officials coming out here on court 1. Just a reminder again that the previous match, a men's singles quarterfinal, saw Rasmus Gicquel unfortunately retire. There you go. When he was in a good position in the second game, and now we have the mixed doubles, a final match of the night here in the quarters. Tang Man and Tsai Sweat, Hong Kong, China, taking on the French second seeds Tom Gicquel and Delphine Delrue. You obviously see the mixed doubles bracket here. We've got Lamsfus and Lohau playing Dorikawa and Saito right now on court 3. But the winner of this match, as I mentioned earlier, Tang and Gicquel Delrue, they will play Go and Lai, or Go or Lai, sorry, in the semi-finals. Yeah, you mentioned the European players very well, and Tom Gicquel and Delphine Delrue obviously part of that contingent. They played very well in China as well. They'll feel pretty confident at the moment coming through.
I think they're in a little bit of a hot streak. Yes, you see
listen to this hot crowd.
The home crowd are welcoming the players onto court very well.
This is the remaining Hong Kong representation in this tournament.
We're down to the final pair.
Yeah.
It's all or nothing at this point.
There come the French pair now.
But yeah, Tom and Delphine have had a really good this trip in particular, but this year has been a good one for them. And when players kind of hit their stride and have a good period, people kind of like it kind of maybe can be perceived as kind of an overnight sensation, but it's almost just years of tiny decisions and tiny bits of training and small results all coming together like a massive jigsaw puzzle. And they didn't just get good yesterday. It's been a build and the momentum of it.
So in the head-to-head, Gicquel Delrue 2-1 up, last met at the Singapore Open a couple months ago, winning that one in 3. They have this year got to the final of their China Open last week. And as we mentioned, losing to the world champs.
No shame in that.
No shame in that at all. Jae Jung and Cheo Sung Jae, and then got to the quarterfinals of the Malaysia Open and the India Open, semi-finals of the Indonesia Masters. And we look here at Tsai Sweat, who's 31, former world number 2, I think it must be remembered as well. That was, though, a fair bit of time ago, June of 2018. World Championships that year, they got 3rd, as well as in 2021 in Spain. Asian Games bronze medal in 2018, so they get to defend that soon as well, not too far from here in Hangzhou. Tang Man is 28, 178 centimeters tall on the World Tour. They have won 5 titles, but none since 2019, when they won the Longshui China Masters, the Taipei Open, and the Korea Masters. So this is what they've done. They beat compatriots Reginald Lee and Ung Tzu Yao in 3, and then Rehan Kushayanto and Lisa Kusumawati. They've had 2 long matches, haven't they?
Absolutely, yeah.
Could take a fair bit out of them, perhaps. Let's see. But now the French pair, Delphine Delrue, who's 24, 171 centimeters tall. They are 7th at the moment, but they have been top 5 pairing. That was achieved in January of this year. And European Games, silver medals this year, bronze in 2019. European Championships last year, a silver. Tom Gicquel, 24. And these two have won a couple of tournaments on the World Tour. 2019 Orléans Masters, home tournaments, and 2021 the Swiss Open. This year, as we know, they just fell short of the China Open. And in contrast, two pretty straightforward. Well, actually, a bit close against Ferdinand Wijaya, sorry, but a lot less exertions on their part.
Yeah, you can look at it in different ways.
Yep.
It could be plenty of court time for the Hong Kong pair. They'll might have a good handle on the conditions because they've put in a few more minutes. But then, you know, the French might have a bit more energy left in the legs.
Yeah, we have our officials here. Reza Roshan Omid from Iran, Cynthia Tan from Australia. Looking at quarterfinals for the Hong Kong pair. They've won 22 of their previous 42 quarterfinals. They lost their last one against the soon-to-be world champs at the Australian Open. They've won just one of their last 8 quarterfinals, beating Tabling and Peak at the Indonesian Open.
On my right, Tang and Delrue, Hong Kong, China.
Listen to that. That's something the French pair will have to contend with
Delrue, France.
Throughout this match. They, by the way, have played in 78 quarterfinals.
Love of play.
Excuse me, 42 quarterfinals, winning the last 2.
Love.
Just on the toss, I meant to ask you this earlier, actually, Kirsty, with the conditions, as you might say, maybe as skewed as they are, or so one-sided on one end. How is a toss really key from a player's perspective, or is it very personal, very individualized on how you regard the toss, winning it or not?
I would say everything comes down to individual preference. You could just have kind of superstitions about it and things. You know, some people just definitely want to choose serve, or definitely want to choose receive. I think.
So the conditions don't necessarily play a part in your thinking.
They sometimes do. I think whether you serve or receive is far less consequential. Oh, just a little mishit at the net there, but they've managed to find a space somehow. I think whether you serve or whether you receive first to kick off a match is far less consequential than which side you're on. You're going to spend you're going to go bump back and forth, serving, receiving.
Sure, it's the end, isn't it? Yeah.
I think if you have the choice to get on, in inverted commas, the good end. Yeah.
To start, you mean?
Well, it depends how you want to look at it.
Right, exactly.
See, I'm queen of the grey area. I can see all sides of most situations.
Including the court.
Including the court, yeah. Especially from sitting over here. It's much easier from sitting over here. You can think, right, there's going to be a settling in period. We're both going to be a bit edgy at the start. So I could be on the bad side for that, because some of the time on that side will be taken up by their not great play, their not great start. Or you can look at it as, I want to be on the good side to hit the ground running and be 4-1 up.
Yeah, great start here for Tang and Su.
I'm going to have to rejig my my thinking for mixed doubles now. I'm gonna have to put my mixed doubles cap on. It's been a few years since I played some mixed, but I've still got some things rattling around my brain about it. Really well struck smash from Delphine on that side. I think it's funny how we might see the female players having a bit better timing in a hall like this, especially because especially, I don't like to generalize or stereotype, but generally the mixed doubles ladies won't get up for a 2-foot jump smash.
Right.
Maybe Higashino and Sapsuri are two that would come to mind that would get up for a 2-footed jump smash.
Right.
But mixed ladies are going to tend to keep their feet on the ground and really let that shuttle come into their racket rather than going up to meet it. So whereas the men are they're going to be in the air, the shuttle's going to be in the air, and there's a lot can happen when you don't have contact with the ground. So we might actually see the women striking the shuttle a bit better than the men sometimes.
4, 5.
In tricky conditions.
Well, so far, seen Delphine Delrue do that quite well. So Sweat leading with Tang. It's gone just a little long there.
So yeah, as we've said for the other matches, Tom and Delphine will not really want to be hitting the shuttle upwards here. Oh, a little uncharacteristic service mistake from Delphine.
That's got to be one of the most frustrating things for a player, right? Serving like that.
Yeah.
It's the one time you're fully in control of the shuttle.
Exactly. It's just leaving your hand and striking your racket. And suddenly it turns into the most difficult thing in the world. It looks so simple.
This is done well here.
Oi.
Big roar. She was under a bit of pressure, wasn't she?
Yeah. But you can see when Tom goes up into this round the head corner and makes this error, he's off the ground when he's striking. And he's uncharacteristically dragged it into the middle of the net. But one way that I'm sure Tom will settle into this and manage to get a hold of this drift as well as he can by using his physicality. He is an incredibly physical player. He's got some spring in those legs. And there again we see just drifting long of that back line with a pretty simple
one,
simple shot that, you know, 9 out of 10 times in a perfect little training hall
would have been in, right?
Would have been in.
Yeah.
Again, like I say, that's like a bread and butter shot.
3-point cushion here for the Hong Kong pair.
But definitely we've got plenty to say about Tang and C, especially being the home players here, and just what a home crowd can do to you as a player.
Right? Absolutely. That's an extra couple of points here and there, isn't it?
Definitely. Well, it is. Personally, I find it like a real, real lifting.
Yeah.
Other players hate it. Other players crumble with it. So it's just kind of, again, comes down to you as an individual.
You know, I just think back to the wall of noise you get in the Astora Senayan, for example, where it doesn't matter who's playing. It's just always noisy.
All day, every day. From the first.
I don't know how you guys block it off.
It's difficult with difficulty. Let me tell you.
Credit to you guys.
And I don't think we played any Indonesia Opens or Masters with mandatory masks, but let me tell you, that was well worked, that rally. Constant pressure, just a wave of pressure coming forward from the mid-court to the net.
4-point gap here. Yeah.
Let me tell you, it's difficult to hear your coach when they've got a mask on.
I'm always wondering, in that noise.
In the Astora Senayan especially. Oof.
I don't know how you guys can get any instructions.
Sometimes when you're, especially if you're on the site, the end courts, and you are, I mean, there's people like pretty much leaning over the balcony.
Right,
they're almost on your court.
Yeah.
You have to go over within a meter of your coach and kind of cup your ear, cartoonishly.
Yeah, not quite the same here, but it is very loud at times. And the crowd here will be happy to see their stars here. 3 ahead. It was short, and it's restored that 4-point lead at the interval of this first game.
Court 1, 20 seconds. Court 1, 20 seconds.
Kirsty, you and I were just chatting during that interval about how warm it is, and I think we just realised as well there's far more crowd in here than, because it's a Friday night and the Hong Kong pair are playing.
We're sitting fanning ourselves
Yes.
here. We're sitting trying to cool ourselves down.
It's very warm.
Oh, well placed return of serve.
Service over. 8-11.
Just a little opening of the racket into that space where Tsi backed off, and there was a space down that back. Oh, forehand side, we've got 2 lefties.
Yeah, that's right.
Good pressure into Tom's backhand there. Wasn't able to get his strings round that shuttle enough.
Just talking about playing lefties, even from a singles point of view, of course, it's just not that common, is it? And so how do you then adjust yourselves, and what goes on in your mind?
Ooh, cheeky little net cord on that serve there, made returning it really difficult for Tom. Yes, I came from a strange generation in Europe where all the top players, maybe in the top 5, there was Mette Poulsen, Carolina Marin, Fabian Dupree, who were all left-handed. So I have some good experience against lefties, but yes, it's far more common to come up against right-handed players. But I would say there are very much some advantages to being left-handed. First of all, that it's a bit awkward to play against. Just the space isn't where you
would normally put it, right?
Would normally put it. You think you're hitting to around the head or a backhand, and a like swiping forehand comes. But also another advantage would be the slice that you get on the shuttle. I don't know if people know that when in a feather shuttlecock, the feathers are overlapping.
Yes.
And a right-handed player is going with those overlaps.
Oh, okay.
I wish I had a shuttle to hand to demonstrate. The right-handed players are going with those overlaps, and the left-handed players are going against those overlaps. So it shoots down. So like a typical feature of a left-handed game is a really good cross slice from forehand cross slice.
Okay.
They can really swipe at it and it goes shooting down.
Ah, that's fascinating. Okay, I didn't know that. That's really good to know.
Fun fact.
So let's see if we get any of those here with the margin reduced to 2. Why aren't there left-handed shuttles is what I want to know.
Yeah, we've got left-handed everything else.
As a lefty myself, you know, I feel we're a bit left out on that.
Oh,
clipping the net.
Wipe the court, please. 12, 13.
Again, as a player, there's no better feeling. It's what you're aiming for, but it's not, but it is. Because
it is the perfect shot, because you can't return it, right?
Yeah.
Shoot. Time. Shoot.
It's just so funny, as players we're so finely tuned to, like, if someone hits a shot like that, we know when it's going to reach a point and where it's going to be, and then that little touch of the net card throws everything off. And it's your ability to deal with that little adjustment quick enough. French are finding themselves on defence through that whole rally. Not what they want to be.
14-12.
Tang and Z are doing a very good job of keeping control of this match. I feel like we're slightly more, we're leaning towards more of their terms.
I think Delphine Delrue was saying, she's saying she couldn't see the shuttle. Going for the flick serve.
Nice.
Second time that's happened in the last couple of minutes for the French pair. They will gladly take that.
14.
So since the interval, it's 5-3 in favour of the French pair. So with the drift conditions, how much does the flick serve come into the thinking then?
Yeah, I think the French pair will have to be very careful.
Yeah.
And just take off like a foot of how they would normally punch a flick serve in.
Right.
I see Tom's athleticism just coming in for that interception at that service line there. Whereas Tang and C, I think they can pretty much play a normal flick. And again, that little tip of the tape.
Just got it.
And it just throws the calibration off of where that shuttle should be. And that's where the mixed doubles ladies are so skillful, especially at this level. The tight margins that they're playing with. I think it's just underestimated how difficult it is to be a lady on a mixed court. And the skills that it requires at the net. And suddenly we're back level.
15.
A couple of lucky net cards from Tom and Delphine, and a little net error from Tang there. He's not satisfied with that.
Play led.
Quick chat.
Be interesting to see if Delphine goes for the same serve here, throwing a little flick. She's gone for the same.
And sometimes it might be good just to play that mind game and then change it up.
Exactly, yeah. This is really well struck, 15. And just the position of where he hit that, right across Delphine. She's covering that middle with her forehand open, and just to send it across her left shoulder, it's very difficult to get a racket across there.
Again, a few mishits along the way on the French pair. Win the point in the end.
Both Taipei players looking up at the ceiling. They hung on to that rally as well as they could, and they just a barrage of net cards.
Comedy of errors in a way. French win that. Delrue killing it off on the backhand. All square.
French doing a much better job of keeping it either flat or going down in the last few points. I think that's how we find ourselves level now. Plus those nice little net cards don't hurt.
This time didn't quite work out for Delphine Delrue.
17-16.
Hong Kong pair just in front, really tight. This is where you feel that the crowd can just make that difference towards the end of a game.
When you feel like I'm gonna very much guesstimate the capacity of here right now, but when you feel like there's an extra 5,000, 5,000 on your side, that's a nice feeling.
Yeah,
that's a very nice feeling. Little flick serve, but it's the French have managed to hold on to that attack that it gives them. Flick serve can be so advantageous, especially with the men tend to really bear forward on those serves, and if you can disguise that flick, you can really catch them. The women tend to hang back a little bit more and
doesn't have quite the same effect.
Hedge their bets. Right. So Delphine was quite ready for that. Plays just a good simple snap down, and then it's Tom's ability to close down that net and follow it up for Delphine. Worked really well. Oh!
Wow. Reminder that it was 13-8 at one point to the Hong Kong pair, which means it's 10-4 since then.
Wow.
Big change here.
And like I say, I think it's their discipline in keeping it neutral or...
Oh, I thought that had gone long as well, but so did the French pair. They are challenging this.
The crowd willing it to be in.
Yeah, this is different. I don't normally hear this in other venues.
Yeah, it's a new thing. I've heard it a lot last week in China. And now this week. But it's quite interesting. I feel like I start a lot of sentences like that. I'm getting caught out with my commentary, my verbal tics. But there's not actually a big screen in here for the crowd to
all get involved in, right? Yeah.
So they just they only have a successful or an unsuccessful up on the screen. But it hasn't, the drama hasn't decreased any.
Absolutely not. 2 points now, that cushion for Gicquel and Delrue. Which is a remarkable turnaround where they were earlier at 8-13.
18-19.
Fine margins.
They were going over for not too long ago.
Yeah. But I think it's the French's discipline in keeping the shuttle flat or downwards, and their real kind of resistance to lifting. That's a good serve. Took a little net cord.
He's going to put that away, isn't he? And that sets up 3 game points for Gicquel and Delrue.
20, game point 18.
Wasn't enough on that, was there?
Nope, didn't manage to kind of jab it through enough or get it dipping enough. Yeah, Tang and COB wondering how they've let this slip. A little necessary lift from Delphine there, but they've turned it around again. Had no choice. And Tang's found that line.
Yes. Good placement there, right in that corner.
7's over. 19-20. Sure.
1 game point remaining. Here we go. This is where the crowd try to really get behind their heroes. Yeah, she was always going to put that away. It was
first game
not too easy, that one. Delrue, Gicquel, Delrue win the first game, 21-19. After coming back from 5 points down.
Court 1, 20 seconds. Court 1, 20 seconds. Second game. Love all. Play.
So good win there for Gicquel and Delrue on that far end.
At the midway point, we would not have called it that way.
No.
They turned it around beautifully.
Yeah.
And Tang and C are going to be reflecting on that and taking stock of how that happened and how they can turn it around and get the momentum back in their favour, because the points momentum is very much in the French favour in the back end of that first set. But the French pair do find themselves on the, like we've been saying in these last few matches, the freer end.
Right. So you really play through your shots now.
Yes, exactly. You can afford to just hit through them, go in with full confidence. You don't have to be tentative to get it to the back there. So I'm wondering what Tang and C's game plan is going to be here. I mean, I think, well, I would proffer that it's potentially going to be strong in that mid-court to get it going either flat or down, which I think is just a generally good mixed doubles tactic. But when you're up against the French, who do it so well, it's a tough ask.
2-all.
Reminder again on the head-to-head in favour of Gicquel and Delrue. One match played earlier this year in Singapore, and that was in June.
Talk about a windy hole.
Yeah, that is got plenty of drift in there.
Oof, that recently, I'm going to put that as my number one drifty hole.
Right.
I
3, 2.
hated every minute of that. And it wasn't that many minutes, because I lost to Michelle Lee quite convincingly. And I found it tough. Almost impossible. So yes, that was one I'm not gonna
miss so much.
No.
That one was 1-3 by Gicquel and Delrue, having lost the first game. They've won this first one here. And also pretty trying conditions at times here in the Hong Kong Open.
Well chipped. I feel like that's what that was. That was a little chip. It wasn't really it wasn't a lift and it wasn't a drive. It was kind of
Would that be risky or not from the end they're in? Or was a chip fairly safe?
Depends on the positioning of where the French players were. They were kind of, I think they were more ready for a hard push shot.
Right.
Delphine's caught that.
Yeah, nicely done there by Delphine Delrue.
4-all.
I think quite often it looks like the server just decides to play a flick, and wherever it lands, but if you choose, you can choose to play up the tee and into a right-handed. If you're in the even box, you can choose it to play it into the tee, which would be up the round ahead area of a right-handed player, or you can choose to go wide. So if you go up the tee, it's more likely to perhaps be a straight reply, because that's where the hand would naturally go. And if you go out wide to the tram lines, then it's more likely to come down to the middle, because that's where your hand would naturally go. So you can kind of...
So you play these permutations in your mind. You
can try to manufacture a response and plan for it. I feel like Tang and C have upped the pace a little, upped the tempo a little bit here. I feel like we're getting a little bit more energy from them, and it is very hard in mixed doubles because the margins are so fine, and the rally length does tend to be a bit shorter. But I think that they're bringing a bit more energy to these first few points of this second set.
Yeah, and they certainly need to take the initiative, having lost the first.
Yeah, to sit back and let. Oh, and the net cords on their side this time. That was not coming back, unreturnable. Yeah.
Tumbling over. Impossible to get to that.
But I think, yeah, of course, for the Hong Kong pair to sit back and let Tom and Delphine just play would not be the correct tactic. So. No choice but to lift these ones out, and it's there.
And that's the end result, right?
That one that you just punch a little bit too much, and has a little shadow, and she knows that she needs to take a little bit off of that. But when it's pure reflexes, it's the hardest thing in the world.
There's so much going on in your thinking when you have to take those kind of conditions into consideration.
It's such a fine balance between not thinking and thinking. If that makes any sense.
Instinct, right, as well. You've got to curb it sometimes, right?
You just, this is exactly what I'm working on right now. You've got to turn the brain off, but also be aware of these little drifty decisions and things.
Second time that's happened. As Kirsty said earlier, sorry, not sorry.
8-5.
I've seen plenty of players not bother to apologise nowadays and just get on with it.
Yeah, I mean, because it is what you're aiming to do, essentially.
So why feel bad about, or feel bad in inverted commas about?
Yeah, because I essentially sometimes I think of the neck tape as another line. It's the same thickness as the lines on the court. True. So if you hit a smash on the line, you're not going to apologise for that. So if you hit a net cord and it tumbles over,
why should you?
Why should you apologise? I always do. Look at me talking the big talk. I'm always going to say sorry. But I think it's entirely necessary to say sorry for like a body shot or whatever.
You don't think it is? Or is
no, I do think it is.
Okay, for a body shot, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just, if you hit someone in real life, you would say sorry accidentally if you hit them. So yeah.
So, Delphine, this is great as far as Hong Kong pair are concerned, but we kind of saw this before, didn't we, in the first game, and that will be innermost, the topmost of their mind, that they weren't in a good position and then threw that away.
Definitely, yeah. Yes, and we were seeing they managed to turn that defense around into attack. They countered really well in that. And it's funny, we've kind of been seeing that the side now that the French are on is the more free side. So we head to the interval at 11-5.
Yeah, they're in a good position here. 6 points clear, but it was the French who won the first game. This is beautifully poised in this mixed doubles quarterfinal.
Court 1, 20 seconds. Court 1, 20 seconds. Tom, Delphine, back on court. Tom.
So an excellent
11,
second game so far for Tang here. We say that because they were in a similar, not quite as good as this in the first game position. It looked awkward, didn't it, a little bit, Footy?
And, well, I think that can be attributed to her left hand.
Right.
She'll be covering that middle, which typically would be a backhand, but because it's gone into her forehand and she's a lefty, she's managed to get a good swing at it.
That's a good point.
So typically that would have been flying past the backhand of a right-handed player.
Right. It was a 7-point lead. That's the biggest lead anyone has had so far in this match, even at 6 points. Remember, it was 13-8 in the last game, which the French pair managed to overhaul. A couple of very useful points for Gicquel and Delrue as they look to try and turn the pressure back on.
Absolutely, but here's us waxing lyrical about how the side that the French are on is the more free and better side, and the actual trend that we've seen so far this evening has been the other side, the person on the other side sealing off the first set, and then we've had 2 setters this evening, so that one's held up. See, if you give it enough height, it can hold up. But in mixed doubles, you normally don't want to give things height.
Yep.
And just that kind of little miscalculation when Delphine's actually got a lot of time here to think about things, and just that little miscalculation out the side.
So very similar to where we were in the last game. Tang and Sweat do not want to let go of that again.
Tom mixing it up with a little punch clear there.
That was going to be challenge, yep. I didn't hear this because I was up in the stands in the China Open, but this is certainly my experience of hearing this.
Yeah.
And I've not heard it anywhere else, so it's always fascinating.
Here we go. It is out. The crowds get what they wanted.
It was all because of them.
Yeah.
1 challenge remaining.
I think it's worth noting that the other quarterfinal for the this mixed doubles,
Lajno and Jamie have won theirs in straight games, 21-10, 21-18, through to the semis. Malaysian mixed pairs over the last 2 tournaments done quite well.
Service over. 8-14.
Some work to do here for the French pair, Kirsty.
Yeah, but we know it's entirely possible, judging by the first set, and they'll know it's entirely possible, and Tang and C will know it's entirely possible. So it's such a fine kind of mental game here.
Great rally. Fantastic entertainment.
Defended, countered and attacked, all within 3 shots.
15-8.
It was a really good use of the whole court. I know that sounds a little bit silly, but mixed doubles is quite often played in kind of a space, and we'll kind of slowly transition around the court, and that was really played quite openly and into these good big spaces. Well stepped in by Tang and took advantage of that little bit of air that the shuttle had.
8 points clear. Massive lead now at this stage. Win this, of course, and we go into a third deciding game. This is getting better and better for the Hong Kong pair.
17-8.
Of course, the fascinating thing about the third game, Kirsty, is that we see both pairs experience either ends then.
Yes, they've all had equal-ish amount of time to gather information, and it's always interesting to see how they deal with that and how they use that.
Good use of the left-hand advantage for Tang Man.
So solid, really solid play from Tang and C, and just the clarity and the lack of panic.
Yeah.
It's quite calm. There's no kind of franticness about it. I'm just making up words now. Franticness. Sure.
Franticnicity. Yeah.
Franticnicity.
Well, what we do know for sure is this 10-point lead now is
the biggest we've had so far,
by
right?
a long way. Maybe if they can win by a similar sort of margin, the Hong Kong pair, that could give them a psychological edge. They're marching towards that magical 21.
Tom and Delphine kind of struggling to find the same amount of space that Tang and C seem to be finding here. Little gaps and taking advantage of them.
Oh. Talk about the frustration on the serve when that happens.
I would say she went for a little cheeky out wide serve there, which isn't maybe as grooved in as your typical kind of either tee or body serve. And also the shuttle has to travel further, so there's more that can happen in that time, and it's more time for your opponent to kind of get on it.
Off a tweener, Tang Man. And earlier in the piece, we saw Ting Sweat on the ground as well. Just kind of glued to it, couldn't quite get up. Always good to see a little tweener, and then to get a point off it feels even better.
You love to see it, you love to do it.
That sets up a whopping 11 game points here for the Hong Kong pair. Oh, he's doing everything.
I mean, he's just showing off at this point.
Oh, what a point. 2 superb points that you feel are going to make it into social media tomorrow.
Yes, that's BWF play of the day. I'm going to tag that right now.
Absolutely brilliant. And from an entertainment point of view, from this crowd's point of view, exactly what they want. We're going into game number 3.
Court 1, 20 seconds. Court 1, 20 seconds. Players back on court. Tom.
This has been a riveting match so far. This mixed doubles quarterfinal. It's one apiece and contrasting fortunes as well. Tang Man, Ting Sweat were leading in the first.
Final game.
5 points. A wonderful comeback and a good win for Tom Gicquel and Delphine Delrue. And then the Hong Kong pair, as Kirsty Gilmore said earlier, turned it on. Flick serve to start things off. And so a very, very convincing win. Now it appears that this near end is actually not the desirable end so far today, this evening. And all the winning games have come on the far end, where Delrue and Tom Gicquel are at the moment. So if we go by that theory, then the French pair will want to build up quite a healthy lead before we get to the interval. And they've started off well in that regard. 3 unanswered points.
3 love.
And I want that to continue. So, just saying there as well, that's the end, of course, that at the moment the players seem to, the far end that the players seem to prefer, seemingly. And therefore, if you're going to come onto the so-called tougher end now, I know that sounds different from what we said earlier, but you'd want to build a decent lead, I suppose. Well, 4 or 5 points before going.
Doesn't one always?
Yeah, true, true.
But yes, I think Tom and Delphine would have been not enjoying whatever the pace was that was set, or the rhythm that was set in the second game.
They clearly didn't enjoy that.
They didn't enjoy that at all.
Yeah.
So I think regardless of maybe regardless of the score line, they'll just want to be in charge of what's happening. And sometimes it's not about the points. Sometimes it's about the actual momentum.
Okay.
Sometimes you would actually favour having the momentum within the rallies, but maybe not finishing off those points,
right?
Because that will come. It
later,
will come
right.
like an investment for later. Don't get me wrong, we all want the points as well. Both would be lovely, but I think this set is going to be so interesting to see what each pair brings with regards to the information that they've gathered through the other 2 sets.
Well, we know that Tang and Si actually didn't have too many problems on this end, given how close that first game was. But also, equally, you'd think Gicquel and Delrue will also have gathered information, as you say, and will have improved coming into this third game. She managed to get there, but it was an awkward one for her, wasn't she? She had to readjust herself.
She committed to the interception, and then Delphine's actually taken the pace out of it and played back onto the net. That one, she thought she was going to thought Delphine was going to push through. I say the best thing as a player is getting that net cord. That's a pretty good feeling. Second best, I don't get to experience it very often as a singles player, but as a doubles player, when you play a net shot and then you play for that interception and you manage to get it, oh, it's a good feeling. Oh, a little bit of confusion there on the attack, but we've sorted it out. Oh.
It's well wide, isn't it? Wayward from Gicquel, who just taps his forehead, knowing.
He went for a little hold and push cross court, and he's just mistimed it. As we spoke before, I think that these kind of tricky conditions lend themselves better to the kind of physical, gritty runner players, rather than those kind of skillful, like rely on their touch and their feel, because just the shuttle will not behave how you want it to behave in here.
In between the two.
5, 4. Play.
Good
stuff. Yep.
composure from Tom there. There was no like big swing about that. It was I'm going to place it there, and I'm going to place it there.
There's the extra man, as it were. The crowd certainly going to be a factor in these crucial final stages. Tang Mun into that corner.
6-5.
Going across Delrue. Bit of a discussion going on with the French pair. They're just asking for Tse to adjust to her left.
Yeah, the service situation in doubles is so important. Games can be won and lost on how well configured you are in those first 1, 2, 3, 4 shots. It's one of the best rallies we've seen so far.
Keeping it alive.
The space that's being found. Aye.
Well, such an entertaining one. They both put everything into it, both pairs. As the French pair come out on top.
They're definitely going to need to mop the court after Tang's hit the deck. Aye.
Shoot.
Great rally.
Again, I think you talked about where the advantage of being a left-hander is coming across, being able to play those kind of shots.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Longest rally we've had, 42 shots. We'll find out in the third game now. You're just going to scrap for every single point on offer, aren't you?
Yeah. So quite often, like in the first set, it might be who adapts to the conditions the best. Second set, it might be who is physically stronger. That might come into it. In the third set, we've also got like concentration and just those little blips of 2 points where you're like, oh, I wasn't really thinking there. It's who can knuckle down every point and almost put all of those together. The conditions, the physical and the concentration.
Just looks down on his hand there, and the shake of the head from Tom Gicquel. Busy note-taking going on, points to be discussed at the interval.
Good hit by Delphine again. She's had good success with receiving those flick serves. She's really been on them, not getting caught.
Seconds over. 8-7.
So this is the only court left now that's playing, which means we've got full attention now for everyone. No distraction, nothing else on the way.
I think most eyes in this hall
We're on
this
anyway.
court anyway, yeah.
Full view now, full focus.
Oh, that's loose, but they've kept it alive.
Very well done.
So calm.
Been a few moments like this so far today where the Hong Kong pair looked down and out.
Yeah.
Exactly. There it is.
We've been on the floor, we've been round the back, we've been through the legs. We've had Hawkeye out. We've had near clashes from both pairs at the back of the court.
Just about everything so far. Fantastic entertainment.
Time.
2 points clear. Tang coming into the interval, which takes on added significance in this third game, because we will now
9-7.
flip ends. Three-point lead.
Time. Shot is okay.
I'm wondering if Tang has taken his headband off since we started this match. I'm wondering if that had anything to do with the change. I'm not actually sure at what point he took it off. Oh, clash of rackets, but it's somehow paid off for them, and they're 4 up going into the interval on the change of ends.
Headband or not? Hong Kong pair in front by 4 in game 3. A decent position.
Court 1, 20 seconds. Court 1, 20 seconds. Coach, return your chain. Coach, return your chain. Come. Thank you. Raise back on court.
So the last time Gicquel and Delrue lost to a pair
Time.
in the quarterfinals, who were
11-7.
in the 20s, were also ranked 23rd at the time. That was Hiroki Midorikawa and Natsu Saito at the German Open. Overall, if you take quarterfinals out of it, they lost. Yeah, that was also the last time they lost to a low-ranked pair in the 20s, and they are ranked 23rd at the moment as well. Tang Chunman, Tang Sweat. There's still some way to go, but Hong Kong pair looking good right now.
Absolutely, and although that's their current ranking, I think it can't be ignored that they have been two in the world.
Yeah, second in the world, exactly.
So, you know, just that little run of form that they have had, the quality is still very much there.
Sure.
And the depth of the quality in across all the events right now in world badminton is, quite frankly, frightening.
Is it about as good as it's ever been?
Yeah,
Right.
I think so. I think in the last 10 years we've seen a professionalized revolution. It's
Right.
so much more professional. Players, the setup, the organization, the tour, and just the evolution and the improvements
That's come with it, right?
that's come with it. Not does it, I mean, it's always been a very high standard. I don't mean
Yeah.
to take anything away from previous generations or anything, but I mean, I think with the athleticism and the sports science and the knowledge that we have now, it's just a constant growth.
13.
Yeah, the 3 matches we've had today have been brilliant this evening. I can see 13-8. This is where they were in the first game, albeit different ends. And the French came back, but they know they've got the strength of character, the ability to do it.
See, just making sure she's absolutely ready, but I think she says she can't see the shuttle, and you're within your right to.
I just wonder whether there's some mind games in there.
Well, I think C couldn't see the shuttle, and you have a right to be able to see it,
yeah.
which is sometimes difficult.
What Tom Gicquel was doing earlier, wasn't he?
Exactly. He complained about that earlier, so it's even Stevens on that. And then because she'd made a little complaint. Tom, I think, decided to serve very quickly after she'd put her hand down, but it kind of backfired. And then another service receive mistake.
Kirsty, in the blink of an eye, it's already 15.
Yeah.
It's a 7-point lead at this stage. It's looking tough, isn't it?
Mathematically improbable, but not impossible. But the momentum is definitely with Tang and C right now. The French are going to have to change what they're doing. But
and they're going to do it quick.
Tang and C are making that very difficult.
16-8.
They won 9 of the last 10 points, by the way.
Oof.
The Hong Kong pair.
There has been a few momentum shifts in this match, like the ebbs and flows that we've spoken about before. You want to hit a good patch, probably round about now. So we'll see how long it can continue. We have a medical call for Delphine.
A few cynics in the crowd. She's pointing to her right arm there.
She's had tape on the she's had tape on the whole match. Forearm or elbow pain.
I'm not trying to diminish anything that she's going through, but this is about as good time as any to have this injury.
Sure.
Stoppage.
Seem to,
and with the momentum very clearly with the Hong Kong pair, and only 5 points required.
Absolutely.
Delphine, are you okay?
We don't know how much of a part that's played in this match as a whole, or in this set as a part,
16-8.
as a section.
Yeah, she's just sort of working that, isn't she?
A few trials.
Yeah.
A few practice swings. But they're just, I think there's a little bit of desperation to the French shots.
On that service return?
Yeah, Delphine's made 2 return errors in the first half of this third set, and now Tom has made 2 return errors in the second half of this set that I've counted. There may be more. But there's just a little bit of forcing going on, which is only natural, but you've got to try and control that.
Yeah.
Tang.
Needs to change his racket there. Tang Chunman.
I think if they're going to do anything, I think that's what they're going to have to do. Keep the game flat and fast and try and really dominate in that mid-court forward.
Thank you.
Like I say, anyone that kind of wants to get a momentum shift, I think sitting back and neutralizing or defending is not your way to do that, generally.
They need a good run here, the French pair. Hong Kong pair had a 6-point run and then a 4-point run. French would dearly love to have something like that right now. Another service error.
Yeah. I think it is quite typical for especially the girl serving to actually serve short, because it's very unlikely that especially the man would leave it, just because all their momentum is going forward. Now we're playing a little game of service error chess.
11, 18.
Except that they can afford that right now, the Hong Kong pair.
Exactly, yeah.
Gone for the flick. Nice and easy for two to put away.
Tom's desperately trying to find an escape to what's coming at him. Just unable to find a space. Tang and C are doing so well at they're configuring themselves and rotating around each other to shut down any hope of the French finding a space or a gap.
She was on the ground momentarily too.
Oh.
It's all going their way, and that sets up match points now for the Hong Kong pair. And given the weather we've had recently, when it rains it pours at the moment.
Especially in Hong Kong.
Yes. By the way, we've never had a Hong Kong winner in mixed doubles in this competition. Don't want to get ahead of ourselves just yet, but they are only one step away. One full match away. They're into the semi-finals, to the delight of this crowd. But they've been excellent today. Tang and Se Sweat.
So impressive how Tom and Delphine managed to snatch that first set, but I think the overwhelming momentum of this entire match, these three sets that we've seen, has actually been with Tang and C, and they've managed to seal off those last two sets very concisely, and it was pretty impressive to watch.
They perhaps might feel a little aggrieved at that first game that they perhaps threw away, but they've won the next two extremely convincingly, to the delight of this fantastic crowd. And the local representation continues at least for another day. Semi-finals tomorrow. An absolute delight. As I said, never been a winner from Hong Kong in mixed doubles at this event. Could we see that finally happen? So Tang and Se Sweat of Hong Kong, China beat Tom Gicquel and Delphine Delrue, the second seeds from France, 19-21, 21-9, 21-11. If we bring the day to a close, just over an hour that took. As the rackets get thrown into the crowd.
That's a good souvenir.
Yes, it is. Absolutely. Delight for her. Crowd have been excellent, really played their part. An entertaining evening session. Perhaps the only blot in the copybook was the retirement of Rasmus Gicquel, which actually was starting to look like a really entertaining match.
Yeah.
And the HKBA VIPs there, certainly enjoying themselves. So tomorrow we'll also have two sessions for you on semi-final day here at the HSBC BWF Hong Kong Open 2023. First session starts at 10 AM, consisting of 5 matches, and then another 5 matches starting at 5 PM local time. We look forward to you joining us there.